Hey everyone, your host Nick here, and you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. First, I want to remind you that we are a fully independent podcast, quite literally just a group of friends who have met once a week since 2008 to talk about video games. If you like our show, the best thing you can do for us is be active in our community. I recommend Discord. You can subscribe to our show, leave us a review on your preferred podcast service, or, if you're so inclined, bless us with your patronage on Patreon or Twitch. If you're new, all you need to know is this. We record these shows live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central on Twitch, and the audio version launches on all podcast services on Friday morning. Patreon and Twitch supporters will even get the show a day early on Thursdays. But if you want to know more about any of this, about what we do, or find all the important links you need, simply visit us at 4playernetwork.com. And that's it. This is the only ad you'll ever hear on this show. So, with that said, thank you for listening. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 813 if Chris Davis is to be believed. Is that accurate? Okay, he's not.
Factual.
Okay. Welcome to the show. My name's Nick Henderson. I'm your host this evening, joined, as usual, by Brad Simons.
What's up?
Nolan Hedstrom.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
And Christopher Davis.
Good evening.
And we are here to once again talk about video games. It feels like it's been like a month since we recorded a podcast. I know that's not accurate. It was actually like 2.5 weeks. But last week? Was it last week? I guess last week. In lieu of a podcast, we hung out together and we played some Abiotic Factor.
How was that?
It was fun.
Really fun.
Dude, that game's pretty
It
fun.
was a lot of fun.
Although, did we ever? I can't remember. Did we ever end up turning on the spatial audio, whatever you call it, or were we just using Discord the entire time? I think we were just using Discord the entire time.
Oh, the spatial audio is everything, right?
I know, it makes those games so fucking
I
memorable.
think we meant to, but we just kind of got lost and had fun doing what we were doing, and we just never ended up turning it on.
Yeah, but still, a very cool experience. Something you might see more of on the feed in the future, because I think we were having a good time with it. So if you're interested, go check that out. It's in the Twitch archives, the VODs. You might even find some clips in our Discord at discord.gg/4player. But anyways, I think don't need to waste any time. It's a week until Halloween. I'm going to see Smile 2 on Sunday. Ooh. Anybody? No? Nothing?
No.
Nah.
Ooh.
Is that a sequel to Smile?
Yes.
Smile was fine. I mean, when it comes on demand, I'll watch it.
I don't think I know what Smile is.
It's Smile is like I would call it this is going to sound condescending. It's like the cheaper It Follows. Like it's almost kind of,
Okay,
it's
don't
almost
even say those in the same sentence. You know, I was rewatching the Babadook last night, and let me you know what I noticed? There are like
What'd you notice?
filmmakers. There are like talented filmmakers who are like filmmakers first, and then they're like, I'm gonna make a horror movie. And then there are people who are like really into horror who make movies. And I know that sounds like super insulting. And I don't mean it to
be a real thing.
There's a place for both. Like I mean,
I know, absolutely. And I love both. But like what happens is when I watch something like the Babadook or whatever, or when I recently rewatched It Follows,
keep saying it like that.
It kind of blows me away. It's like, it's so weird to see, or like Long Legs even, right? Where it's like, whoa, it's crazy to see a movie in this genre that is like made with like care and attention that you typically don't see often. And it kind of like blows me back a little bit.
Did I see that Christopher Nolan's next movie is like a vampire movie? Or is that, I swear to God,
Christopher Nolan is like another, in another bubble. You know,
but he is.
There's filmmakers, horror fans, and whatever the fuck Christopher Nolan is.
But like, it sounds like he's making a vampire-centered horror film next, and I don't know. I saw that somewhere, and I haven't seen it a lot, so I don't know if I was reading something that was factually true or not. Maybe somebody in chat can confirm.
Prince of the Universe says,
Prince of the Universe says
making it stars Tom Holland.
Horrifying plot rumor.
Tom Holland.
Movies don't exist until I see a trailer.
But listen. I do think you're giving Smile a little bit of the short end of the stick here, because that first movie was surprisingly fun.
It is a great movie in this part of the Venn diagram.
But I'm saying, if you go look at like how Smile 2 is doing critically right now, apparently it is a much better sequel than the original. Like, it is one of those where it's better than the original. I don't know if that means
That's
it's
pretty
being
common
if
even
it's
today in like that area.
right.
Of
I
horror
don't know if it
movies.
means it's being elevated or if it's just doing the same thing but better. I don't know.
I
But
mean, it's also like, it's leaning positive on Rotten Tomatoes, certified fresh, but like really, what are they
it's like
saying?
86% or something on Rotten Tomatoes.
But what is it on
good.
Metacritic, right? Like,
I don't know.
Rotten Tomatoes is a weird barometer for
Sure.
pleasing movies that are pleasing to watch.
Sure, but here's the thing: I can't keep going back and forth between Rotten Tomatoes and OpenCritic and Metacritic. So I use Rotten Tomatoes for film and I use OpenCritic for games, and I just let that.
Sure. So stick to Rotten Tomatoes. That's fine for movies at least. TV is trash, I think. And look at the scores. If you're really trying to like get a sense of if Smile 2 is cinema or not.
I don't know. The point is, I'm pretty stoked to see it. Also, I got
stars
tickets.
Jasmine.
Yeah.
From Aladdin.
I also got tickets to go see Heretic, which is not until first week of November.
What is Heretic?
The one with Hugh Grant, where you should check out the trailer for that. It looks pretty cool. That looks like that could be cinema.
Hugh Grant, huh?
Yeah, Hugh Grant is like a crazy villain. You should go check it out. I'm into it.
I've seen 3 movies since last time we talked. You tell me which one's the best. I watched Cuckoo.
Great.
I watched that Cuckoo. Movie. That movie is insane.
Fucking love that movie.
It's pretty good.
Nick loves Cuckoo?
I love Cuckoo.
That kind of blows me back.
Love Lies Bleeding.
Oh, that one.
Is that the one where the ladies, the
girl from The Mandalorian and Kristen Stewart are like lesbian lovers?
She's from The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Who from The Mandalorian?
Yeah, she's that like weird Imperial chick from The Mandalorian.
But not the toxic one that got fired.
Yeah, I only watched this far enough to see her.
No.
I'm clarifying.
Continue.
I know she's not. I'm just saying she's not.
Love Lies Bleeding is cool.
Love Lies Bleeding was really cool. And Hundreds of Beavers.
I don't know
what the fuck. I have no idea. That's porn, sir.
You should. I mean, if you trust me at all,
is that on one of the sites
you have to go to Amazon Video and just start watching it and don't even like watch a trailer. Just go and just trust me.
Okay. As long as I don't have to log in.
If you do have to log in, go to Tubi and watch it.
No one probably has no idea what we're talking about.
No,
he's no longer a Texan.
I'm Texan. I have no what you're talking about.
Oh,
you got to log into Pornhub now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, laws, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought you just couldn't access Pornhub without
I don't know.
VPN.
I don't know.
Like you can't get to it without a VPN now.
Wow.
They won't
I don't know.
block
Texas. I'm like, this is too confusing. I'm finding another site.
Save us.
I'm going back to the Sears catalog.
In the spirit of Halloween, I finally watched for the first time in my life A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I don't want to talk about this.
I think I missed the boat, guys. I think I missed the boat.
He missed the boat.
Nick. No. Nick.
He expected it to be cinema.
Nick. That's okay.
I mean, I'm not. Look,
I mean, yeah. What Brad is saying is absolutely true. Like, it's just like a fucking genre film, from the 80s. It's like, if it isn't speaking a language that you're vibing with, there's not going to be a lot to appreciate
it's not The Shining. It's not The Exorcist. It was never that.
I know.
But
you're talking to a like I love slashers and I love Wes Craven.
But like that was like a pivot, kind of like that was like Terrifier doesn't exist without Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger. I don't think, right? And that's fine. I mean, I'm not really that into like Terrifier, but like I like Nightmare on Elm Street because of like Nightmare on Elm Street like 3 and 4 and stuff where it gets like crazy and it's like teenagers with powers and shit. And like if you don't get to that point, then it's like it's like I mean, if you don't even like the first one, I guess that's fine.
I'm not even sitting here saying I didn't. I don't think it's a bad film. I don't think it's a bad. It just wasn't for me. But like Chai Tai, because I know you gave me your like what you told me I should do. Chai Tai convinced me that for me, as like the person who was introduced to Wes Craven through Scream and has loved that franchise since 1996, he told me as the bridge between A Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream to watch the first Nightmare on Elm Street, watch A New Nightmare.
No.
And then let that
you
be.
Need to bounce
let that be it.
There's Chai Tai. That's a bad take. there's zero chance you're gonna like or care about New Nightmare. I promise you. That's like a super meta movie for people who love Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's what makes it the bridge.
But you don't love Nightmare on Elm Street. It was exciting for Nightmare on Elm Street fans. Like the meta is not gonna work.
Well,
also that movie doesn't hold up as well. Like something that is super like campy Freddy, like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, 4, 5 or whatever, holds up way better than New Nightmare, which is like it was meta, but it was also taking itself seriously and trying to be a little more scary. But like you feel the time period that it came out more watching that movie. It doesn't hold up, I promise. And it gets really stupid towards the end anyways. And you're going to be so confused because there's like lore that you're not going to be up on. I don't think it holds up.
You should try Hellraiser, Nick.
If you really didn't enjoy the
I have never seen Hellraiser either.
You should watch Hellraiser.
But I've always thought Hellraiser looked kind of dumb. But I do.
Yeah.
I know.
Dude, I don't know. It's like a puzzle box that opens a portal to hell, and sex demons torture you to death and rip your skin off. Yeah. Like it's kind of cool.
But a lot of these horror movies had sequels that don't hold up, like in any respect. Like there are Nightmare on Elm Street Halloween movies or whatever that are like absolutely fucking trash. Like literally no one enjoys this film. Like Nightmare on Elm Street has maybe some dicey entry, like a couple of dicey entries, but like it's pretty consistent, like fun all the way through, honestly. And that is not true for a lot of 80s horror. It's just I
don't want to get too far into, because I do like plenty of 80s horror, and I like a lot of 80s slasher films and whatnot. And I'm not even saying Nightmare on Elm Street is bad or anything, but I will say this: the thought I had multiple times while watching this movie was, this is a weird fucking movie. Just like the flow of it and the way like some of the dialogue
and the acting was suspect. Which in an 80s horror film is a crazy take.
First of all, I wasn't trying to comment on the writing and the acting. I know.
You know what's happening right now, right? It's that same thing we were talking about when we were talking about Dragon Age. Like you stumbled into a Dragon Age. Okay.
Good segue. Good segue. Can we talk for just a real quick second that I didn't even think about the fact that we are like a week away from the release. Sorry, is it more than a week, Nolan? I just saw Nolan.
It's exactly one. If it's the 31st, it's exactly one.
Yeah, that's
crazy. Come on, baby, give me a miracle.
That's crazy. I think it's gonna happen.
Dude, what if it gets like 120 on Open Critic?
You'd win.
Maybe I'll be in contention. Maybe I'll still like be able to win.
Yeah,
Look, honestly, Fantasy Critic is getting a little awkward, and I want to talk to Nick about it specifically later.
What? Why are you?
Because I feel like this man's throwing in the towel a little bit, and I want to find out what happened with that trade that went bad. No, Nick.
No, he thinks I'm throwing in the towel.
3 slots.
The reality is, I proposed 2 trades. They were both rejected, and then I went on a vacation, and I just haven't really been paying much attention to it.
Okay, well, now's the time to pay attention.
Well, I know, but
we have a second place.
I know. I'm not throwing in the towel, you bitch. I'm not throwing in the towel. But hey, look, I'm also kind of like, I feel like I'm just gonna have to take the goose egg on the 3rd slot, because I don't think anybody's gonna give me the
trade. Didn't look rejected. It looked like it was vetoed by somebody.
I filled my list. I'm out of fucking bidding.
Yeah, I was literally offering somebody. I mean, my trade was basically, here, take one of my 10-point games and give me like $8 or something.
You don't need much money.
I don't need much money. I just need. I have
except Carlos, and
I have 3 slots and $2. So,
but you can trade can still happen. I don't understand why it can't happen. You're running out of people to do it with.
I know, and I'm like,
here's the thing. And again, we don't talk about Fantasy Critic later. We don't. But I want to do
this
something.
This is our Fantasy Critic talk for the.
I want to do something. So, like, if you've been following, I have a like really commanding lead. Okay, meaning
that motherfucker.
I don't need to drop Silk Song. Like, I can have a 70 for Silk Song, and it doesn't matter if you do the math. The thing is,
bitch.
I might be willing to part with Silk Song if somebody wants to go for a Hail Mary, only because that's kind of interesting. Because you might be picking up like a goose egg, right? But because I don't think I need it. But if it does drop it like the Game Awards or something, like all of a sudden, boom, you get 30 points.
What if I gave
crazy.
you?
It's
what
spicy.
if I gave you $1 for Hollow Knight and like $5? Like,
I don't even have $5.
How about if you
I don't even know if
accept
that makes sense.
trade? If you accept that trade, I'm gonna punch you in the fucking nuts. I'm gonna drive to your house and punch you in the nuts.
Do the math. I do not need Silksong. It's more interesting being in the hands of somebody who could actually like turn the tables for it.
Okay,
and like that might be screwing myself, but it feels.
You should trade. You should trade Silksong for like
dramatic.
For one of Chris Davis's goose eggs, like.
Well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do an obvious dumb trade.
Well, I dropped Donkey Kong.
Like metaphor, a 93 on OpenCritic for 50 cents, like earlier in the year. But whatever. We should move on. Sorry.
Yes. All right. Anyway,
I'm thinking.
Let's get back to it. Look,
can I just say, I'm surprised that y'all let me take Anton Blast. I'm kind of surprised by that.
No one has any slots left. Chris Davis.
Nick has 3. Carlos has 2.
But I also haven't been paying attention.
He has $2. What is he? How is he going to buy that from you?
I spent $2 on it.
But Chris Davis.
If I spent $2, which is all I have, I wouldn't have gotten it because I have a points lead. You would have gotten
Davis. It's not that I wouldn't have tried to like outbid you on that. I mean, I couldn't have with $2. But what I'm saying is, again, haven't been paying attention. Been out of town. I know there was a fuck ton of like bids that went in. I'm almost kind of like waiting for everybody to just fill up their list, and then I can just bid on whatever the fuck I want after that.
I was getting really anxious about y'all having so many empty slots. Every single one of those bids that week, I introduced. I'm pretty sure.
You piece of shit.
Knowing that I only had one slot, I was just tired of bidding on games.
You were trying to bait me, and I wasn't even looking.
No, it's not bait. All of those games that I bid on are strong pickups. They're all strong pickups. Okay. I was tired of people having empty slots.
It was change it.
Brad, don't worry. It'll all work out. It'll all work out in the end. Anyways, stay tuned. If you're interested in following along, not to mention we have 4 community leagues going simultaneously, and this is just another reason y'all should be hanging out in our Discord at discord.gg/4player. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. It's been 2 weeks or more since our last show. There's a lot of ground to cover. We're going to talk about stuff. So I'm going to go in a weird direction tonight because Krispy.
You always want to start with me.
I mean, yeah, I do.
Great. That's great. No,
Krispy has been playing a game.
Wait. Can you guess? Okay. Can you guess from my background what game I've been playing?
I mean, I can. I teased it in the Discord. Like people know we're talking about this game in some capacity. Knows, but I now get the joke.
Simpsons Hit and Run.
I didn't. Yeah, Simpsons Hit. I didn't get it until after I.
People listening at home, it's a Simpsons character. It's a hippie from The Simpsons eating a sandwich with a baby in it.
A California cheeseburger. I have been playing and finished. Death Stranding.
Finished?
Yeah, dude. Last week he was like 30 hours deep into it. So, yeah.
You've been in a hole.
Lost myself in it. Yeah,
Good. That's the only way to play that game is to get lost in it.
Yeah, and you know, I've found myself with an excess of free time lately, and feelings of melancholy and impending dread. So this was the perfect game.
Perfect for that.
It was such a vibe. It was such a mood.
Did you finish? Did you build the cross country zip line? Did you try and do it?
I didn't. I gave up on zip lines after I got over the mountains.
Wow, dude, I was obsessed with making zip lines.
I put up a lot of zip lines. I put zip lines all over the mountains at Mountain Knot City. Like that whole western part of the mountain range is covered in zip lines. But what I got really obsessed with, like I'm pretty sure I spent at least 10 hours just on trucking around materials just to build the roads, to build the highways. And I didn't even finish necessarily. Like there's one stretch that goes through the mountains that I didn't finish. You can actually see right here what I did not finish. There's a stretch through the mountains, and then there's a stretch between Mountain Knot City and the Mountain Knot City Distro Center that I didn't finish. Great way to start this conversation for people who aren't familiar with the game.
Can you in like 2 sentences tell us what Death Stranding is?
No, I can't.
No, you
it's
can't.
Weird.
One
It's
sentence,
like a poetic, melancholy logistics action game.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, it's really weird. You play a porter in a post-apocalyptic America who is trying to reconnect disparate cities and
People.
bunkers to a giant internet, basically called the chiral network. That is
Starlink.
essentially it's the afterlife, and then people were like, "Hey, we could move data through this," and they turned it into an internet.
I have never heard anybody try to explain it like that, and now my brain is going in
It's
a million
so
different
wild.
directions.
It's so weird. Like what the Death Stranding is, and like the conditions of this world, like BTs and Dooms and Repatriates and like all these weird concepts that Kojima just throws out there. I mean, essentially the thing that makes the world post-apocalyptic, despite the fact that they obviously have like advanced technology, is that like death doesn't work properly anymore. Like basically something happened that brought the worlds of the dead and the living too close together, and there's like this intermediate area between them called the beach that is supposed to be a transitional place where souls move on to the next world. But because they're overlapping so much, the beach is now like an entryway for spirits to come back, or for, more importantly, spirits of people who like just died. Like they don't move on automatically. They kind of linger. Yeah, and they become these things called BTs, or beached things.
That's what BTs stand for? Did I just miss that, or I forget it?
Yeah, beached
things. Also, spoiler alert. Death Stranding 2 is called... No, it's not a real spoiler. Calm the fuck down. Death Stranding 2 is called Death Stranding 2, The Beach.
On the beach, I think.
On the beach. Is it on the beach?
Yeah.
On the beach?
Something
the beach.
Like that, yeah.
It's featured prominently in the title of Death Stranding 2. That's all I'm saying.
The beach.
Yeah. Yeah, which, like, I went back and watched the announcement and, like, all the trailers for Death Stranding 2, and I'm, like, crazy excited now.
With context now?
I'm crazy excited for that game. Because this game was...
Kojima is still a genius. Is
yes! I don't know. Like, okay, I don't, like... Yes, I don't know. Yeah, like, there's...
This is cinema.
You know, say, like, if you're, like, tired of glazing Hideo Kojima, like, just say Koji Pro are amazing.
Sure.
Like, they made this, like, crazy, incredible game.
It's also a technical, like, kind of masterpiece.
It's fucking beautiful. But the thing I was saying before about why death doesn't work, and like the beach and the BTs, basically it means that like any person who dies like basically becomes an antimatter bomb, like a nuke that can go off in 48 hours. So like if somebody, like in the very beginning of the game, there's like an incident where like they're like, hey, we need you to make a delivery really quickly. This person committed suicide and we only just found their body and it's been almost 2 days, and you have to like go burn it before it
like
wipes out the entire city
while carrying this.
Yeah, they have these incinerators. They have these incinerator stations like up in the mountains away from the cities, where they can burn bodies. It's like really important that you burn dead bodies, or else the soul tries to like attack living people. And when that happens, because the dead souls, the BTs, are made of antimatter, they cause an annihilation between matter and antimatter, and it's like a fucking nuclear bomb going off.
I played 30 minutes of this game.
Yeah,
it's
a good game.
Oh my god, Brad! I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, but you just need. I don't know. Yeah, I don't like. It's such a meditative experience for a lot of it. Like some of it is stressful, and some of it is crunchy a little bit. But the vast majority of it is like really meditative. And
it's also a vibe unlike anything I've ever played before.
Yeah, the vibe is incredible.
Yeah,
it has that.
Sequel has like the dude playing guitar. Like, that's not
dude,
a vibe.
This game has shit like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this game has weird shit like that. In fact, that is not That is not like out of place to
The
me.
guy
at all.
playing the guitar, isn't that Troy Baker, who is also
he's
in
one
this
of the bad
game?
guys in this game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
When
yeah,
did this game come out? 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
2019? Yeah. And then this is the director's cut. The footage, just to give you some context for what you're watching, I'm just hanging out in the open world and I'm attacking a terrorist camp and I'm killing all the terrorists, and you'll see like in the game, in the mechanics, yeah, like when you kill somebody, there's like it's like a problem. It's like a big deal. It's like, okay, you got to get rid of these bodies, because what ends up happening is they eventually start spawning BTs, and like those BTs will attack actual NPCs in the world, because there's like porters walking around everywhere. They'll attack people. And if that happens, no matter where you are in the game or what's happening, when that occurs, it'll give you a game over. So like you have to take these bodies up to an incinerator in the mountains and burn them. And I hadn't ever done that. I like killed one person on accident the whole time I was playing. And this is after I finished the story, and I'm just kind of messing around in the open world for footage. So I was like, I'm just gonna go kill a bunch of people, and that's what I did, just to see. I wanted to see if the incinerator could like burn all of them at the same time, or like what would happen if it looked different. Like I don't know, but it was fun. It was kind of cool.
Can't you actually create a nuclear explosion, basically?
A void out, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that, it'll just give you a game over. But that's what happens. But I was reading up on this, and apparently, that like because it simulates that whole thing. Like in game time, in 48 hours, wherever the body is, it'll spawn a new BT, and if that BT is close enough to any other NPCs that it can attack them, it triggers a game over. But there's plenty of places on the map where you can dump dead bodies, where the BTs that they make will not be like near anybody. So like apparently there's people who figured out ways to like make BT farms where they'll just like kill people and cart all their corpses up to like some open area in the mountains and just like create their own area with like all these ghosts floating around that they can then kill for like there's a element called chiralium that you get from them that you use to build shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Wild. Like this isn't really like one of those games that it's not Satisfactory or Factorio or whatever. It's not a game that you can just like completely automate processes and shit like that. But there is like an element of like crunchiness to how it handles equipment and like cargo and like transporting shit. Like it's really cool. I don't know. I always kind of figured that, I knew this game was kind of not controversial. I
don't even know if it's controversial. I think it is
very divisive upon release.
It was divisive.
Since the director's cut, people have become like kind of come around on it. I think maybe a little bit more, but
there were definitely. I mean, I remember the support being pretty split at the time, where like some people really vibed with what was going on, and some people didn't.
Like me.
Because it's not a shooter. I mean, like it's funny.
It's not. You can do a lot of shooting if you want, but it's not really what the game.
I mean, the core, like the central loop of the game, or maybe not loop of the game, but like the central mechanic of the game is actually delivering packages and building infrastructure. Right. So like trying to see how, like trying to Tetris as much shit onto your back and see if you can carry it across open landscape.
Not drop it.
And not drop it is the fun of the game, and some people just don't.
Navigating the world, is like the puzzle. Even
and
if
I think some people find that's just too abrasive, or they're like, "This is just too frustrating," and it's like, but that
it's because he made like the most expensive Bennett Foddy game ever.
It is kind of. I mean, I don't think it's as intentionally obtuse as that. Getting over it with Bennett Foddy, but I see like. It is that kind of like mentality of this is supposed to be an experience, clearly this game is like about the journey, not the destination, as it were.
But the destination is wild. Still,
Yeah, I mean the
journey and the destination are both pretty wild.
The story that it tells, I mean, we know that like the central metaphor of the game is all about like connection, right? It's about the ties that bind, right?
The strands.
The strands, yes.
They weave that into any aspect of the game that they can find, and they talk about it a lot. And a lot of what Sam's like personal journey is like I don't remember what they call it. He has a phobia of like people touching him, you know? Like he doesn't want to talk to people. He doesn't like people touching him. He doesn't like people being near him. And then like, you know, the game is about him like learning to like people, I guess, you know, like and forming a bond with BB with Lou. He ends up naming it Lou.
Yeah.
And just like what, you know, like all of that is going on in the background of the main objective, which is like he's not just spreading this network and trying to cross the country just for the hell of it or just because he was like told to. He's trying to do it because on the other side of the country is his like adopted sister, who is essentially the one in charge of all of this, but she's like being held captive, and he sets off on this mission.
Which Hollywood actress that he's obsessed with was cast in that role?
It is somebody.
It's what's her name from
Battlestar Galactica. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Leia Seydoux is in it, but I don't know that's not the character you're talking about.
Yeah. No, Leia Seydoux or whatever plays Fragile, who's like one of Sam's like allies. She runs like another delivery service.
Do you think Death Stranding's a better vehicle for like Kojima's bullshit than Metal Gear Solid was? Like, do you think Quiet would have worked better in this than it did in Metal Gear Solid? Metal Gear Solid 5, where it was just kind of weird.
I don't think this is as pulpy as Metal Gear Solid is.
Yeah. Okay.
In general, like Metal Gear Solid, for all of its earnestness, like definitely has like pulp to it. This game definitely has like a lot of the weird, like I don't know, like it has that like quirkiness and that character that like every Metal Gear Solid game has had. It's just maybe not as explicitly pulpy, but I don't know that this is a better vehicle per se.
I don't even know if those two things should really be.
I think what I think is that like it is a very like there's a couple different things going on. It's very strange. It's also like got a lot of elements that taken individually are pretty like silly, but it's all put together in a really like skillful way, and it's very sincere about what it is. Like it takes itself pretty seriously. It takes itself seriously it takes itself seriously enough that you're willing to suspend disbelief and like believe and like play along with it, and it maintains that very well. I think Metal Gear has always done a really good job of that, but I think this has less of a juvenile tone than some Metal Gear has. You know what I mean?
I would say that Metal Gear inserts a lot of juvenile humor that maybe some people find misplaced, and this game doesn't do it as much. Don't get me wrong, you have your pee grenades and stuff like that, your pee and poop grenades.
Yeah,
I forgot about those.
You're slamming back Monster Energy.
Not anymore. In the director's cut, they had to remove the monster.
No,
now it's just Bridges. Now it's just Bridges Energy.
No. Oh, God. Yeah. That's so much less cool.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But there is less of the kind of like it does take it. There's a more serious tone to what's going on.
Also, I think Metal Gear Solid has always like it has these kind of like strange like Kojima's like strange avenues that he goes down for storytelling and characters and stuff. It has those obviously, but they're not as obvious right out of the gate. Like you have to really kind of sink your teeth into a Metal Gear Solid game before some of the weirder shit starts to bubble to the surface. Like it's when you first start playing, it seems very kind of like serious espionage, like Cold War shit, which is obviously accurate. But then it starts to like hit you with these really over the top characters and like goofy, pulpy moments. This game is just like right out of the gate, it's asking you to buy into some serious weird shit.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I hope
it works.
Kojima horror thing is.
I was trying to remember the other day. What is that called? He's the one.
He's got multiple, right?
The project with Jordan Peele that he's working on now.
Oh.
They announced the title, and I've completely forgotten what it is at this point. Because I was like, isn't it called Nope? Nope, that's the movie. I was like,
OD.
wait, now I'm just naming Overdose. Thank you, Dano and chat.
That's right.
Bad name.
Overdose.
I don't like that.
Yeah, and I will say, like, this feels like a slight against Metal Gear, and I don't mean it that way, but I feel like this story is also much more, like, intimate and human than anything from Metal Gear Solid. And, you know, I say that as a Metal Gear Solid fan. I think that the storytelling in Metal Gear, except for maybe 5, has been incredible.
Man, everybody keeps throwing 5 under the bus.
Let me tell you something. I installed 5 and this at the same time and was which one should I play? And I just started playing Death Stranding. Now that I finished it, I really want to go play 5 again. Like
5 plays like
so good. 5 is so good.
Like even if the story is kind of like an afterthought or whatever, like I remember the gameplay being fucking sick, and like the gameplay of this is really sick. But this is a more intimate kind of like humanistic personal story. It has those big stakes that like a Metal Gear story has, where it's like literally the fate of the world, you know? But, well, yeah, I don't know. Is
Kojima okay?
I needed to think more.
Is
about
Kojima okay?
You know how
dude, he's doing better than any of us.
Okay, because you know, like you play a Nier game and you're like, Yoko Taro is not okay. He's not okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, but you said this one's kind of like melancholy. I mean, it's post-apocalyptic.
I definitely think it. I think the central trajectory of the story and of like the themes of the game are hope, right? Because it's not just like the world is fucked, and like they kind of keep telling you like the world is fucked, and its end is inevitable. Like, you know, like the fuckery is only gonna keep continuing. But it's about like struggling to build something better in the face of that, right? Like it is
I mean, that's
interminably hopeful, right?
Okay.
Like
something else just popped into my head, and I must ask. And the reason I'm asking a lot is because I do intend to play this before the sequel comes out.
Yeah.
A lot of what I heard about that game upon release was that it was kind of players working together. People were liking stuff that you did and putting ladders in places that were like, you know, oh, this is great. There's a ladder here. Is that different now?
I had this exact concern before I started playing. I did not know to what extent that functionality still worked. And I will tell you something. I don't know if it's just because it's on Steam or what, but like there's a shit ton of it. Like most of the structures you see that I'm driving by that aren't like the distro centers or the incinerator I'm coming up to, that are like the player built structures, were built by other players, not me. Okay. That stuff is very present. There seems to be a lot of people engaged, like playing the game, or
especially
like
now that the sequel's coming.
It just has a bunch of.
I mean, it was a very successful game. I guess.
I would be curious as to whether any of our structures from 2019 are still there if we were to pop up the game back in.
Oh, I have no idea.
I doubt it.
I think there's so many. There's so much shit now that it's like. I don't like. I don't think it's one persistent game world that everybody who's ever played the game has contributed to. Well, I think I don't think that could be possible.
What I more mean is
there's
that
812 people playing on Steam.
Like if you went back and loaded your game, would you have likes from people who like used your structures since?
Well, no. I
wouldn't be surprised.
What I'm more talking about is the fact that every structure that you build in the game eventually degrades over time.
Yeah.
So, like,
that's true. Other people can repair it, right? Can't they?
They
like,
can
repair your stuff.
That's the other.
It's very useful.
Like that's the other thing too. Is like it's not just walking and shit. Like you have to deal with stuff like time fall, which is incredible. I didn't even mention that. The rain in Death Stranding ages everything it touches. Like it'll kill you if you get caught out in it because you'll die of old age. It's fucked. It is fucked up. It is so fucked up.
I'm so excited for the sequel.
Dude,
What's the sequel need to do?
Finished this game this
that's
morning.
a dumb question. It's gonna be wild.
I finished this
game. I don't think anyone can even know the answer to that, Brad, because it's going to be weird as shit, and nobody's going to see half of it coming.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I think we know what the main like narrative focus is going to be now.
I meant more gameplay actually.
The trailer I think sets up what like Sam's central quest is.
They've shown a lot of story, but I mean, is it going to be like kind of back to zero, and you're going to be like walking everywhere for a while and all that jazz?
I have a feeling he's going to find an interesting way to kind of like start you kind of where this game ends and then build upon it in terms of like infrastructure and traversal. That's my guess. I mean, I
think you got to go back a little.
Well, you're going to different parts of the world in the second one. Like so this is all the United States. You start. I think in the trailer they mentioned you're definitely going to be in Mexico, and then I think the majority of the game takes place in Europe.
Yeah.
So you're doing all this like in new territory, and we don't know anything about what the rest of the world is like. Yeah. We have no idea what's going on anywhere.
And do I want to replay this before 2 comes out?
Sam is the.
I had the same thought.
Sam is the main character in the second one. Yes,
you're the one to do it, Nolan.
Also, oh god, I had something and I just lost it. Sam. And oh yeah, the trailer also kind of implies that like the next game is going to be a bit more actiony and a bit more like combat focused.
Yeah,
because there's that part in the trailer where Higgs has Sam like captured, and he like takes his rifle and he's like, "Oh, you traded in your rope for a stick this time." Like,
they're probably going to try and bridge the gap between Metal Gear a little bit more to like bring those people who weren't necessarily on board.
I mean, one of the biggest things about the director's cut marketing was that they were showing off a dedicated level that was pretty much all about Metal Gear inspired combat
and stealth too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
like it was in a warehouse with a bunch of boxes. If that tells
I think
you.
I think Death Stranding 2 is all about closing the gap between these two franchises.
If this game, picks up a little bit more of that Metal Gear-ness, I will not complain at all. I do hope that it maintains its heart and its identity, which I think it
vibe.
Will. I mean, the trailers, that first like announcement trailer, that like 9-minute announcement trailer is already so like, yeah, let's do it. I'm fucking ready.
Fucking in.
I'm
man.
so fucking ready, dude.
I'm just so impressed that all the stuff they've shown so far hasn't been like weirdly self-indulgent or anything. It's so strange for a Hideo Kojima game.
I mean,
I'm kidding. You know, I would love a regular ass trailer not made by Hideo Kojima or cut by Kojima. I want like fucking somebody at Sony or whatever to cut.
You want a marketing person to cut a trailer for this game?
I crave a normal ass trailer for a Kojima game.
I feel like I would want to see that purely because I'm curious.
As someone who didn't play that first game, you can't watch this shit. It's insane. It's like a trailer is like 12 minutes long and 90% cutscenes, and it's not. Who are they selling that game to? Because it's not anyone who didn't play the first game. It's crazy.
Yeah,
all right, we'll see what happens.
I don't know, man. And George Miller is in the new one.
Oh yeah,
that's fucking cool.
He's gotta have someone
continuing his trend of having like the film directors he likes, like genre filmmakers. Like that's so. Guillermo del Toro's character, Deadman, is amazing. I love him.
He's great. The character is great for sure.
I mean, all the characters are incredible. I love them.
I think my favorite parts of the game were the levels with Mads Mikkelsen. I can never
Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah.
The war kind of like
the battlefields.
The battlefields.
Yeah, it's just such a surreal take. Just transition from the base gameplay.
Some of those are fucking wild.
I almost feel like it's like some of those points in the game actually are maybe the closest in terms of like vibe to like Metal Gear Solid, particularly like Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4. I think it was giving me kind of like flashbacks to those games a little bit. So yeah.
Oh, also look at this
stuff.
I don't know. I think I don't know if this was just added for director's cut or if this has always been part of it. But there's a cyberpunk tie-in, like a series of quests in the game where like the rewards are all cyberpunk themed items. So I don't know if you noticed, but he had Johnny Silverhand's arm.
Oh,
Like,
that's
okay.
fucking cool.
Cool.
You can also get V's like the like chrome lines on V's eyes. You can get those.
I've tried to
and Johnny
play this,
Silverhand's
but
glasses.
like I usually play my PlayStation 5 games in front of my wife, and she's I don't know. Like, do you think a woman has played Death Stranding yet? Because it's
What the fuck?
Brad.
Yeah, I do.
I mean,
Yes.
it doesn't. I
Damn it.
don't know.
Oh my god! Please don't.
Am I
serious.
out of line? Of course I'm out of line. Am I like? But I mean, do y'all know what I'm getting at? This is like,
I don't.
Dude,
this is what is
my
this
wife
game?
watched me play a good chunk of this game, and even though she had no fucking clue what was happening, she was into it.
I do feel like, I don't know, man. I don't want to get too weird and sappy about it, but like this, like the last 64 hours or 70 hours of playtime I put into this game were like a really nice, like, personal experience.
Special. It was special.
Yeah.
Like it was special, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, and you know, your mileage may vary for sure. I don't think it's a particularly arcane or impenetrable. Like, I don't think it's like a super dense piece of art. Like, oh, if you don't like it, you just don't understand it. I don't think that, but like, it's so just kind of based on the vibe and based on like, are you just kind of like it's like Journey, you know? I don't know. This game is like Hideo Kojima made Journey.
People came around on this thing, and I'm telling you, a lot of people played when the director's cut came out. A lot of people like gave it another chance. This game came out in November of 2019,
and
like, this is a game that a lot of people came around on after COVID hit.
Yeah, and what's changed since November of 2019?
Exactly, right? So I get it. I don't know if I'm in the place. I feel like you do need to be in a place for this game, and maybe
I will say I put about 64 hours into finishing it. You do not need to do that.
I mean, I think
the general estimate is like to do the main story. You can it's like 30 or 40 hours. Yeah.
That sounds about
right. Some games
if you're a Kojima fan though, like if you're a fan of Hideo Kojima and like Metal Gear Solid, like
for sure,
it's worth checking out just for that alone. But yeah, dude, it's like, you know, dude, it's too late for me. I'm awake now, you know, I'm sold. Like, I've reaffirmed my belief that Kojima is kind of a fucking mad pervy bastard.
So it sounds like Krispy, you're gonna be playing Death Stranding 2 around release.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. Very much looking forward to when that game comes out.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's switch gears.
Fucking Metal Gear Solid Delta's coming out before that. Like, when is that? Is that before the end of the year?
No, well, you don't have.
They haven't
yet,
said,
so I
but
don't think
it's certainly 2025. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, damn.
All right. I want to pass. So, okay. So I'm going to pass it over to Chris Davis next.
Oh, hello. Hi.
Sorry. Maybe I should have gone over this order. I'm just kind of pulling this order out of my ass. But you wanted to talk. You've been playing MechWarrior 5, which is kind of like Death Stranding. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. Tell us about MechWarrior 5.
Well, so
he's been playing MechWarrior 5 Clans.
Yeah, this is specifically Clans,
which is the single player MechWarrior game.
It is a brand new, single player co-op game. It's not.
Does this resemble anything like MechWarrior 2, which is the last MechWarrior game I played?
Yeah, this is a MechWarrior.
I mean, I
played that in like 1998 or something.
I mean, none of the games have departed from that except for Mech Assault back on the Xbox. Like it is MechWarrior.
Are those technically the same series? And I just wasn't aware of this?
It's the same universe.
It's BattleTech, but it's not. The game you played on your fucking PC or whatever you had in the 90s.
I don't even know. My gateway, that's accurate. I can tell you that.
Yeah, this is MechWarrior as MechWarrior.
You would 100% recognize all these mech designs.
What brought you back to MechWarrior? I mean, is this new?
So I
new release?
So Mercenaries, MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries came out about 3 or 4 years ago. Same developer, by the way, Piranha. They did MechWarrior Online about 10 years ago. And the biggest request from them was a dedicated single-player co-op experience thing. MechWarrior Mercenaries, that was more of a bit of a... There was a narrative structure to it, but it was more of a roguelike experience. And there were some very cool things about it, but it was missing that narrative hit. And this is their attempt at introducing a story.
You say
and it's
attempt.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
It's a successful attempt.
Yeah. It's
okay.
It's I think it's pretty successful. It's really interesting. Yeah. It's been getting pretty decent reviews. The thing about it is that Piranha is so just head down focused on like the lore of this entire franchise, which I have been discovering recently is incredibly deep and insane. And so like everything down to like the fucking voice acting is intentionally bad so they could match up to the characters and where they come from. Like
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So the conceit of this game, it's like the year 3045, and we're after the events of the Third Succession War, in the Inner Sphere. There's a lot of lore. You could probably spend
but say it's starting to get into the weeds here with the.
You think VaatiVidya does exceptional stuff with Souls lore? Let me tell you, there's even more fucking BattleTech lore.
Are you? Okay.
So
really,
you're part of one of the lost clans, lost houses that is invading all the other planets in the Inner Sphere, the known universe inhabited by humans. And so they've been exiled from the Inner Sphere for hundreds of years. So they developed a like Mongol horde like culture, and their whole structure of society it's like this thing of, it is a slur. You are a lesser person in this universe if you are not born either from nobility or you are not genetically engineered into certain roles in society.
Shit got dark, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a whole technological dark age, but like it is feudalistic as fuck, but with mechs in space, which is really cool.
Also, is this? Well, this might be a dumb question. Is it? Well, never mind. It looks very open world to me, just kind of in terms of, like, you're running around in a mech in like a large cityscape, and there's roads that seem to be connecting these places. And I don't know. You tell me. I mean,
the levels feel largest, but since this is a single player game, these are kind of linear levels. MechWarrior 5 was about randomly generated levels that were large in size, but again, they had that tiles and assets thing going for it that was really transparent.
Gotcha.
And they kind of addressed that in later updates, but I haven't gotten back to play it since they put those in. But yeah, these are handmade levels. A lot of them kind of canyon experiences, but also like large open areas like this automated military base on a planet.
Got some verticality. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's mountains and shit.
There's a lot of encouragement of like using your jump jets and verticality, and not necessarily there's stuff to explore and find. It's more about getting a decisive edge in combat, because this game is all about fucking combat. In fact, you're all about like editing your mechs, increasing the experience of your pilots, of customizing all your loadouts to a less than I'd want degree, and then just deploying into a story mission. And you just rinse and repeat for planet after planet after planet. And it is fucking cool, like how they make these mechs feel big and heavy. I think they have some issues with like scaling with like, plants and stuff like that, because these things are meant to be like 3 or 4 stories tall. But
Yeah, but say you went from like that base area where there was like buildings next to you, and then you're kind of like walking through a field, and it looks like bushes and trees and stuff should be a lot smaller by comparison, but they haven't really changed scale.
Yeah. But also, like, again, you're traveling to different alien worlds, so like I kind of forgive them a little bit for the foliage.
Maybe that's just the way shit is.
Yeah.
What has kind of been just in terms of like there's a lot of different versions of mechs out there across different game series. MechWarrior is always. What is MechWarrior's like a take on this? Is it always all about like lumbering, like heavy?
Yeah.
I mean, they can be really
like
small,
they're barely
lightweight,
mechs,
very fast.
they're walking tanks.
Walking tanks.
Well,
okay.
there's battle mechs, and then there's omni mechs, and so they're essentially the same thing. It's just that battle mechs have incredible customization to them, and that was one of the driving aspects of Mercenaries. But in this, you're playing as Omnimex, and you can still customize a lot, but there's also a lot of it that you're locked out of, and you have to spend points to get. You have to spend experience points to purchase like cores, like different batches of limb sets and overall mech designs. So
also, you've played MechWarrior 2, you know.
But I played MechWarrior
like
2 when I was like in like it was the 90s. I can't if it wasn't Resident Evil or Zelda, I don't remember much about anything that I played in them. Or Final Fantasy. One of those three. I don't remember much.
Yeah, they're very slow lumbering mechs. You know,
they are.
MechWarrior is like
also,
your legs are going this way and you're like aiming to the side.
We're talking like 20 years. Like a series can change a lot in 20 years. You know, like maybe the mech is
based on this is BattleTech. It's not gonna. It's not gonna. You're not gonna get a new game in the BattleTech universe and suddenly it's Zone of the Enders. It's
no.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, I like the way Krispy explained it. It kind of like just it sets the expectation right out of the gate. They're lumbering tanks.
Personally,
if you will.
As a certified mech enjoyer, I find the designs of BattleTech style mechs to be repugnant and cowardly.
Damn.
Because they don't have the fucking wherewithal, the chutzpah to just give their mechs hands holding weapons. They have to just like make it a fucking laser gun on an arm.
Okay, I mean, like they are tanks essentially, but I will say there are mechs that have hands that carry melee weapons. There is literally a mech called a Hatchet Man, and it's this 4-story tall mech that runs around with a fucking giant hatchet.
Yeah.
So there's progress. They're making small strides.
Like also, the creator of MechWarrior was rude to me at a PAX one time, and my children's children will bear that grudge.
Damn.
Okay. Damn. This motherfucking casual started talking about Mech Assault in front of a BattleTech guy.
Oh, you
did. That's what it was.
Oh,
no,
you broke
I
the
asked.
law.
Yeah.
Did you apologize?
Yeah. No.
Does
it sound like I fucking apologized? I wish a plague on his house.
Jesus.
So COVID happened.
And then COVID happened.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
How dare. So
Lord.
I've been playing this mainly co-op with a bunch of friends, going through the campaign and trying out different mechs. Like, this is a Nova, and the whole idea of it is that on each arm you could hold up like 6 lasers. So you could essentially be like a fucking shotgun of lasers, annihilating people if you're doing proper aiming of like limbs and stuff like that. But I've been trying out so many other mechs that are really cool, getting different weapon combinations, and sometimes I'm like this giant missile boat that is destroying things from afar. Sometimes I have these electromagnetic PPC cannons, which will like just explode outward with a ball of lightning. Like there's
cool. I like that.
All the designs are pretty fun to me, honestly. Like I understand where you're coming from, Krispy, with like, you know, all that, but also this stuff is still pretty cool. Yeah.
They're clunky and chunky.
They're designed.
It could be worse. It could be worse. It could be.
Core,
I just think,
sure.
I think lumbering robots are dumb. So, you know, I'm just kidding.
I'm
I'm just kidding. I don't.
Wow.
I
You know,
don't
it's
actually.
lumbering, but they
Racist.
got hands. They're holding guns. It's
They got hands.
I don't actually feel that way for just. So
I
y'all know.
I just think this is the mech design is one of the few areas where, you know, I think
there's
the
a right and a wrong
Japanese
answer.
have completely outpaced us. They know how to make a cool mech.
I mean,
and
they're
we don't.
building real. They're building like real ones,
yeah.
aren't they? I mean, they don't do much.
They're building standing ones, but like moving ones.
Yeah,
is a whole
they
other
build.
conversation.
They're building ones like life-size ones that stand, and that's about it. But
Yeah.
you know, that's progress.
But I mean, like going back to
They
the
take
story.
that shit seriously.
Yeah, go back to the story real quick. Like I'm having so much fun with like kind of being thrown into the deep end of this universe because like I understood some of it when I played Mercenaries, but I didn't know like how fucking deep it was gonna go with clans. Like the fact that the main character and his crew like they don't use contractions when they're talking. And that's an intentional part of their genetic upbringing and design. Like it is a slur in this universe to not have like a nobility name or a job of nobility. Like
Nolan's like, why does he keep saying the word slur?
No, it feels like the wrong word.
They call people like Sir Rats because they don't have a righteous surname.
There is a caste system.
Oh, it is 120% a fucking caste system.
Maybe taking it even further.
But why does that excite you, Chris Davis? That's my question.
Fuck off. But like,
let's be real.
If you're,
it's probably
extreme social stratification enforced by violence.
Like it's just
I
so
think it comes down to the fact that
it all depends on who you're fighting.
Like it's so cool to me that
it makes for interesting political like conflict. You know what I mean?
Like
and,
the fact that
maybe you don't expect it in a universe like this at first.
We're 1,000 years in the future, and we're in a technological dark age in which humanity has conquered known space and has divided that space up between feudalistic houses that operate on caste systems and not even like personal merit, like your upbringing and birth determines your role in society in this world. Like
you know what?
No one's ever done that before.
Yeah,
Frank Herbert.
You know what else this kind of sounds familiar to? If anyone's playing Metaphor Refantasio, that's kind of a major component of that game as well.
That's the other thing I was thinking of. Dune and Metaphor Refantasio.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nick, you've been diving in deep on that?
Yeah, I have. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. But this game's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it so far. Cool. I want to say I'm at least halfway through it at this point.
Are you playing exclusively with these MechWarrior friends that you have, or are you jumping in and out of solo play as well?
No, I'm exclusively playing. The main reason why is that the one who owns the campaign, the person you're joining, your save status doesn't carry over from them. So I essentially have nothing to my name. It's just on his
unless you're playing with them.
Campaign. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool. I mean, I don't know.
It's not cool. It's not cool at all.
It's not. Sorry, that is not cool. But I get what you're saying. You are playing this exclusively with this friend. Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah, friends. I've
kind of
like high school
factor. Unless we want to start over, we pretty much have to play together again, or we're starting over from scratch.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're doing good on getting patches out and updating things, and because there's a lot of things they do need to fix. But they're working towards it. So
I just looked it up on OpenCritic. You're right. It is reviewing pretty. I mean, they don't have a ton of reviews yet, but it's sitting at like a 79, which is not bad. Not bad.
There is a bit of a thirsty market for mech games right now, and the more you can provide.
Like, yep.
Yeah.
I thought about playing Armored Core 6 again the other day.
The one. Okay, yeah. Never mind. We need to move on.
Yeah, we probably should. So here's what we'll do. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to let Brad lead us into his, and maybe Nolan. I don't know if Nolan's been playing it as well, but maybe the UFO 50 minute, as they've been doing the past few weeks. Talk about some highlights, some games from UFO 50. And then I want to hear Brad's thoughts on Silent Hill 2, because he's been playing that. And we'll wrap up the 4-player minute, of course. So if y'all are watching live, don't go anywhere, or listening from home, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this quick break. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. As I said before the break, I was going to start this segment by handing it over to Brad to lead us through our new segment for the foreseeable future of the UFO 50 Minute.
I got two new guys here.
Two new Jimmies from the UFO 50 collection.
Yeah. These are two, I guess, strategy games of sorts, but very different flavors. The first one is called A Tactics. This one I have finished. A Tactics. This is God, how do I describe this? This is a game where it kind of reminds me of like Plants vs Zombies, but if like both sides were fighting each other at the same time. I'm sure there's probably a better like modern touchstone for something like this. But anyways, I'm in a mode where I guess it's just me versus the computer, and my units are moving to the right, and their units are moving to the left, and I'm trying to get my units through, which are various classes. There's like shieldsmen and spearmen and soldiers and like cavalry and whatnot, and we're just kind of going at each other, and I'm trying to get my guys through to hit their fort like 3 times to like win the match up or whatever. And their guys are trying to get through, so I'm trying to defend my side, right? And all of the unit types have like different properties and whatnot, and it gets really crazy and hectic because there's like a timer that's going on the top of the screen, and you only have so much time before the next turn advances. So it's like a real time tactics game kind of that's like constantly moving, and it gets really hectic. Just
high pressure.
Yeah, because you're trying to manage your whole side.
It's like if you were playing chess and there was a timer, like you have this.
Well, Nick,
this many seconds to make your move.
It's called.
Well, I mean, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Touche.
But it's like speed chess if both people were moving at the same time, I guess, right? Which is crazy to think about. Whoa. And it's like it's very overwhelming at first, but it's also like really cool because there's all like different kinds of like interactions. Like you get ninjas and they actually attack up and down, right? So it's you're placing them in a lane that isn't really serving that lane that they're in. It's more about attacking above in the columns above. But it's just a really like hectic game that at first feels so overwhelming, like you're never gonna get it. But you start kind of learning like little tricks and how to like move really quickly and like moving your archers back, because you don't kind of want your archers advancing on like the enemy. You want them to hang back to kind of like pick them off. And I feel like one of the things that like throws the biggest wrench into it is this unit type that explodes when they die, and it can be like friendly fire as well, and making sure they're in a position to actually do damage to the enemy but not take out your guys as well, like adds so much more stress to this like tactics game that just never stops. But it's fun. It's like a simple idea executed well, which is what a lot of UFO 50 is. And when it finally clicked, I just kind of like steamrolled through this thing. It was just a lot of fun, and there's still more modes within this game to play. I just kind of got through the campaign, and this is like maybe like the first challenge map or whatever. And there's some like neat ideas for like how they mix it up, like, oh, in this level you only have the exploding guys and stuff. But it's just cool, neat idea executed well. And
Cool.
I don't know if Chris Davis wants to try to like skim to the next one real quick. And the footage is I kind of record these together, so it's a little awkward. I should probably start doing too. The next one is a strategy game that I would skip ahead a little bit further, because I'm kind of like, this one's called Lords of Disctonia, I think. Is that what it's called? That can't be.
That's a weird name.
Disctonia, and this is also a strategy game, but it's like also like a class-based strategy game, but it's turn-based, and you're basically like playing like shuffleboard. So you're going up against like the enemy AI, and I'm pretty sure both these games actually have 2-player modes. But this one, you're buying like units, you're collecting resources and buying units at towns like on like a world map, and kind of like moving towards like the enemy. on that map, and when you encounter them, you kind of get into these battles where you're sliding your pieces around like shuffleboard style, like you're trying to like hit the enemy with your like disc, and like also like hit them into other enemies so they take like combined damage from like hitting each other, right? And like the various
Air
job
hockey.
classes are like different sized discs. And like so like if you can buy an ogre for your team, and it's like a huge disc that does a lot of damage, but you can only fling it one time like per turn. But if it's like the right turn and you line it up, you can take out like multiple enemy units in like a really good like fling of your ogre disc or whatever. And they also have these rats that are like little tiny discs, but you can like fling them. They don't do a lot of damage, and they're like really tiny. They don't have a lot of hit points, but like they
They're
can
hard
move
to hit.
3 times in a single turn, so you can kind of like
Oh.
set up combos or like collect there's other things you can do on like a given like battle, like collecting for like your army or whatever, so you can like buy better units maybe at the next town, or like ping dudes around, um other things that are like I think my baby's crying. Other things that are like
Oh no.
it's just, again,
Yeah.
it's a neat little concept where they just turned like shuffleboard into a tactics game, and it's really cool. Like my only like negative on this one is that like it takes like the enemy turns are a little too like everything just moves a little too slow. I kind of wish there was like a speed up button for enemy turns, which again probably not something that would have existed in a game like from the 80s, but like you know this is one where like maybe a little bit of quality of life would have gone a long way. But it's still fun. It's just sometimes when the enemy's going, it's like, all right, come on,
And you
dude.
haven't
I
finished
just
this
want to
one?
get through this battle, and I don't care about you taking 3 turns with your little rat dude. But yeah, that's it. Those are my 2 strategy games. So still many more games to cover, but we'll save that for a future
Cool.
podcast.
Nolan,
Still,
I know you've
still
got a lot going
really goated.
on,
I
but have you
adore UFO 50.
been playing any UFO 50?
So yes, to answer your question, I do have a lot going on, and to answer the second part of that question, no, I have not. Yeah,
Gotcha.
no, it's been a very baby centric week in terms of just trying to get so much around the house kind of ready. Painting and wallpapers and assembling cribs and car seats and strollers and go bags and just all the other stuff.
A lot.
So I've not, yeah, no, there is. And so it generally in the past week, but not even just baby stuff, just house stuff too. Like we're getting blinds installed, and I've installing some pendant lights in the kitchen. Just trying to get through all this crap that as soon as the baby's here, I'm not going to want to do. And then my car died this week to the point where like I was having trouble even jumping it. It's just been a crazy week.
Well,
And
the good
so
news
was
about
looking
UFO
pretty good,
50
though.
is it's extremely like pick up and play like friendly.
no,
And
for
every
sure,
time
for
I turn
sure.
it on, I start seeing, because it's so many games, I get like excited, like, oh, I've been meaning to go back to this one and this one and this one. It's very like pick up and play friendly for that reason.
Yeah.
Cool.
It is for sure. I just haven't had the time. But I lost my train of thought.
Baby.
But yeah, no, and
Things.
that's what I was just saying. Like, it's been so tiring the past like week that in the little bit of free time I have had, I've like I don't even want to play games right now. I just want to kind of do nothing.
You've reached that mentally exoted level where it's like even doing something like that sounds like you're engaging too much.
Yeah, so while I've done some light gaming, I haven't done as much as I'd like. But yeah, it's one of those frustrating things where like I'm seeing Krispy talk about or hearing Krispy talk about Death Stranding, and I'm watching the footage, and I'm like, man, I really did enjoy my time with that game. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to pick that back up again, because
it might be thematically appropriate because you do have when you actually have the baby, you could like be holding the baby while playing the game where he has Lou.
I mean,
you're doing sympathy gaming.
True.
I recommend like with Griffin, I played a lot of like Ace Attorney, because that's a game where you could just like button through like the game. And the most recent, like the Great Ace Attorney series, even had a mode you could just click on to where basically the game plays itself. You don't even have to like make the choices in court. They'll kind of like make them for you, and you could just kind of button through. And those are like really good story games, and you're just going to be laying with a sleeping baby a lot. So
that's true.
Having good like one-handed kind of stuff, or just to kind of do. Or you could just read also, but whatever your
There's
that's
that.
true.
vibe is.
Okay.
Cool. And also, I'm sure if you were so inclined, I bet there's some people in our Discord who have had children already who might have other recommendations for good,
no,
good
definitely.
new
Play
parent
Balatro on
gaming.
your phone or whatever. But
That's true.
And there's that.
With all
Okay.
the updates.
So, Brad, I'm gonna again hand it back
Silent
over
Hill.
to you.
Yeah, this has been an interesting one for me. I'm I'm
You've been streaming it.
I have been streaming it. So I've been doing
I'll
a lot of streaming lately.
also mention that I finished it this past week. And the footage you're watching is the same, but that's whatever.
Sure,
I finished as well.
And I know you really enjoyed it because you kind of like shared.
I did.
Not only just on the podcast, but on like Twitter and stuff. So,
I did.
And for me, obviously, I'm not as big of a Silent Hill fan, but I do like Silent Hill 2. It was my favorite Silent Hill game, I think. It's kind of hard to like think back, honestly.
Well, honestly, I think if you're not
blur together, but like the vibes are very similar, like across the whole series.
Well, at least in the first 4, the vibes change pretty significantly after 4, but that's because they're all made by different studios trying to do different things.
I will say,
I can't really imagine. I can't really imagine a non-Silent Hill fan picking anything other than Silent Hill 2 as their favorite.
Well,
I mean
that's
that's
an interesting one. I mean, like I think Shattered Memories was kind of interesting, honestly, and I think the first one is still like the scariest for me, like from when I played it, and it was just at the time there just wasn't really anything like that. It was very intense. 2 reminds me of like Fatal Frame 2 or something, where like everyone agrees that one's like the best, but like Fatal Frame 1 was the one that is the first one I played, and that one scared me the most, right? So like it has that, and like maybe the third one has like better scare moments than like 2. I don't know, whatever. All this to say is I've been playing this. I've been excited to play it because it's a good horror game with actual combat in it, and it's October, and that's sort of my vibe. And but it's a slow starter for me. I like the first couple hours with it for me were kind of like dull.
It definitely is a slow build to the point.
Yeah,
I think a lot of it had to do like essentially as soon as I got the gun, I became immediately more engaged in the combat. And that's because when you just have the stick, it's every encounter is the same. You're just running up to enemies and just whacking on things until they're done. Like just having that
and dodging
extra choice. Yeah, like whacking and dodging, but it's the same for every encounter. You just run up to the thing and you hit it. But like all of a sudden, like having, okay, well, now I'm going to make a choice. Do I shoot this thing a couple of times before I start whacking on it? Do I shoot it at all? How much ammo do I have? Do I need to like save some ammo for a little bit and just try to like melee the next few enemies to death, like so I can save up a little bit of ammo in case I really need it, or should I just use some ammo now? And like you, all of a sudden, like just introducing that extra like mechanic adds a lot more like dynamics. I mean, makes the combat a lot more dynamic in a way that just was not there early on.
No,
and I would add to that,
and that's around the same time you encounter the enemies that start running away and hiding, and that is like extremely
unnerving,
extremely like a strength of this game that I don't think other Silent Hill games bothered doing. Right? It's that Dead Space 2 enemy that runs and hides, or like more recently, more modern horror games have had that kind of thing where like enemies are like waiting for you or hiding, or
Dead Space 2.
They did it a little bit in the original Silent Hill 2, but in this game
a little bit, but it's not like this.
Yeah, this is like, and they'll be hiding in like really like when you walk into a room, depending on the layout, like they might be like tucked away in like this like odd nook or corner that's hard to see when you come in, but like you can spot them, and like if you move slow enough and kind of look around, you can spot
your
most
flashlight
of them ahead
will trigger
of time.
them. So like if you spot them but don't immediately like start shooting them, they'll react.
Yeah.
And even those earlier enemies, when they start like slithering on the ground, they're moving really fast, and like where the fuck did it go? I gotta find it to like knock it out. It gets more fun. Like the combat certainly gets more fun. Now the Silent Hill like gameplay loop, like structure loop, is still like go to this room, find a key, this puzzle to find a key, to this room to get another key, like, and it feels at times it feels like a little bit exhausting, like it just goes on and on and on.
There's also you're doing something very specific with your
and I do want to talk about that. It's kind of
crazy.
It started as kind of a joke, but I also kind of like meant it, and I'm actually glad I made this choice. And that's that I'm playing this game without using the map. And this is now the thing is I've heard a lot of compliments about how good the map is. Like
the map is good
at tracking your objectives and updating and stuff. And
it's definitely benefiting from what Resident Evil 2 remake started, which is I think maybe the other games did it a little bit, but it makes notes and updates the map as you explore.
Good. It's a good map,
yeah.
but it's not needed. First of all, like Silent Hill is all about being in locations that have a lot of signage. You're in apartments, hospitals, stuff that has signs, hotels, that tells you where to go, room numbers, and you really don't need the map. And
you usually spend enough time in them that you start to learn. You start to learn the layout.
You start to learn the layout. And importantly, I don't think you do learn the layout when you start relying on the map too much.
I mean, I'll say this: I use the map. I use the map a ton, and I was learning the layout of the place, but I was not remembering because you'd be in a hotel and you find room 102 had a thing. I can't do anything with this thing yet, so it makes note of that. It makes a note on the map, and then you find the thing an hour later, and you're like, oh, I know where to use that, but I don't remember the room number it was in.
Well, but that's the thing. When you don't rely on the map at all, it's more about mentally mapping and remembering the areas that you haven't checked yet, because it's probably going to be what is going to be the thing that needs to take you. Because you do a lot of backtracking, but you're still going to consistently going to areas you have not been yet. So it's been surprising, and I'm in the hell version of the hospital at this point, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty far, and people had their doubts, they're like, oh, you're getting through the apartment, you're gonna get through the hospital and stuff. But I'm telling you, when you don't rely on it, it becomes a little bit of a crutch, because and what's crazy to me is when I'm watching footage of other people playing, they're constantly opening their map. And the developer knows that, because they even tell you at the end of the game how many times you've opened your map as you played the game. It's almost like it's become a meme. And
it's a crutch. It's a crutch, or you can look at it as a crutch. But here's the thing: as you've already stated, you can play the game without the map. So it's not like the world is poorly designed and you need the map to get around.
I'm glad that I was able, because it started as a joke. I'm glad that I've been able to be successful at the bit, and that's to play the game without the map. I was worried that it was going to be a real struggle, and it hasn't. It's been quite pleasant getting around.
Let me just say, so you said people were immediately like, you're going to get fucked in the hospital, right, when you don't use the map.
You were just talking about the prison or whatever.
But prison I'm saying, is the one where I think it might become part of it. It might become a little bit of a challenge.
But there's prison blocks and stuff, right? I'm sure there's signs.
There are, but you know how prisons are, I don't know if you know that, but typically prisons are organized in such you have to go through certain checkpoints to get to certain areas, and you have to they have double entrances, and sometimes they have a room that has 3 doors. One is where you would take prisoners to get to the block. That was where people who prison guards would be able to go to get around the prison block and stuff. So it just becomes really because you're just approaching it as a person, right? And it's just this is not organized as logically, or I mean it's organized logically, but it's not organized in such an obvious way as something that we all experience in life with apartments and hospitals.
But that's the thing about the kinds of locations you're in Silent Hill. They're all this kind of how do we get the most people in this space? They're all structured in such a way that
there's logic.
None of it's like that. I mean, it's logical to in a bureaucratic way, but it's not logical to a person who's just trying to navigate a space, right? But I'm telling you, it's I don't know. I'm just thinking about it differently. I'm
It's
just,
good, and it's fine.
I'm going
I mean,
based on where I'm looking, and I'm
I
telling
just
you
wanted to
it's working,
stress,
and I'm surprised.
that's great, and I just want to stress that like I think that's a great thing that you can play it that way.
Yeah, and
But
I'm
I also
not.
want to make.
I already know what you're saying.
I just
You don't want me to say that I'm playing it the better way, and I'm not. I'm not saying that.
I know,
I'm saying like I found a unique way to play it that kind of engaged my brain early on
and
when
it's
I was
wild.
feeling a little bored, and it's worked out well. It's worked out well.
I'm wondering if you'll have this if you're gonna have this. Don't take this the wrong way. If you're gonna have the stamina for it, because by the time, because like it took, even looking at the map, a lot in my game. It took me, I think my
think the
final
map slows
hour
you
count
down.
was like 18 hours. You think it slows you down?
I think it
Okay.
might slow
I
you
was gonna
down.
say not using the map is slowing you down,
But
but
I'm
I'll
not
be
stopping to look at a map. I'm just
okay.
I
Okay.
know I
Okay.
feel like I
That's
know where
fair.
I'm going. And you
All
have
right.
to think about it a lot, but like you're constantly opening up shortcuts in this game. Like
You
constantly.
are.
Yeah.
Like
It's like
I
Dark
think
Souls,
more
baby.
so than even like any other Silent Hill game. Like they've found ways to like make shortcuts.
You know,
And it's
one thing because when I last talked about this game, I was about as far as the hospital, I think, as well. And now that I've finished the game, there's a lot of talk. We'll talk about it in a second too, but like a lot of talk about Bloober and kind of their, you know, how much of this is theirs, how much of this is the bones of Silent Hill 2 kind of thing. And I think the answer would surprise, if people who haven't played it, I think the answer would surprise you a lot, that like Bloober has changed a lot in this game. It's obviously got the bones and the structure, but like
you're doing
the place where it becomes the most obvious, I think, where you can kind of see Bloober's contribution to the game more than maybe anywhere else, is the prison section. Because if you remember the prison section from the original game, it's very creepy, but you're in and out in like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. It's a very small area. It's not like it's not like the apartments or not like the hospital.
Not
but
in
like,
this. It is
not in this. It is a expansive. I spent a lot of time in this prison, and like,
do you feel like it added a lot though? Like I don't
no,
know.
I
feel like
dude,
they
I
need
feel
to
like
cut like 20-30% off of each of these areas, honestly.
no, man.
I wish I
mean,
spent more time in the town than
but you don't
in these
spend.
areas.
I don't disagree with you, because that, again, I've said this a lot. I think that's my favorite. That's why I like Downpour so much, is that you spend so much time in the town, and you do spend more time in the town in this game than you do in 3 or even 4. But there's not as much to find. There's not as much there's not like many side things to find or whatever. I mean, there's Easter eggs and cool shit to find, but like it's not a ton. But like as the game went on, and by the end of it, like I was kind of astounded by how much Bloober changed things up and introduced new things. And like I was kind of waiting for like the other shoe to drop, and like I was like, somewhere along the line here, they're gonna take a misstep, and something's gonna falter, and it's not gonna land or have the same impact as the original. But that never really happened. And the most surprising thing, and I was saying this all the way to the end of the game, and this is not just because I think the combat is obviously a lot better, and quite honestly, in my opinion, I think it's fun. The boss fights, the boss encounters in this game,
cool. Like
they're fucking
one
cool.
The one that at the end of the apartment, that was like a cool fight.
And they're all like, if you remember the boss fights in the original game, like the enemy will come out and it's a lot of just like run in circles, shoot at them until they die, and then a cutscene plays.
I mean,
all of the boss fights,
dodging, but yes.
Yeah, all of the boss fights in the remake have been kind of recontextualized and like integrated into the actual environment in interesting ways, like weird, like new boss patterns, and like the way they utilize the environment to like get around you or attack you and stuff are all just really interesting. And they're like all the way up to the very end, even the final boss, like they're all I think all of the boss fights in this game are an improvement over the boss fight designs of the original, and that's not just because the combat is better. Like there's some genuine thought that went into them and improvements.
I do feel like they're like one system shy of like a truly great like this is, I don't think it's like a great horror action game, right? Like this is the strengths of this game I think are still the strengths of Silent Hill 2, the original, like when at its best, right? And like I think the combat is fun, but I just wish like you spend so much time in place. You cover so much ground in this game, whether it be a dense building or just like the Silent Hill itself. I wish there was like something else to find that wasn't just an Easter egg. I wish there was like some weapon mods or some shit that I could find by doing like a little side area or just
I was really hoping
little thing to add to the combat
Sure.
or like a system to back up the combat.
Yeah.
For me, I was kind of hoping they were going to take a note out of Downpour's book, because there are like entire story, like side story threads and like quests that you do out in the world that like they don't give you things like upgrades, but they like you come across unique stories and like weird happenings that like you end up going down little rabbit holes and finding
narrative
shit.
pieces.
I feel like full actualization for you or whatever, your galaxy brain is when you finally admit to the world that Downpour is your favorite song.
No, dude. Here's the thing.
No.
One.
You got to say number one. You got to let the world know. It makes you uncomfortable. I know.
I mean, I will tell you this. A long time ago, I was for the longest time, I was going to do like a top 5 Silent Hill game video, and I had my order planned out and everything. And while Silent Hill 2 was my number 1, Downpour was my number 2. And I know that's not the same thing, but like but I will say this. And
your day's gone, Mom.
But here, I'll say something equally as controversial now that I've finished this remake. And I'm saying this as someone who has put Silent Hill 2, the original, in my top 5 consistently since the day I played it.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, no, listen. I think this is in a lot of ways a better game than the original. I think you should be allowed to say that when like mechanically and functionally it's better. It is fun to play this game in ways that the original was never fun.
No, I mean, sure.
The gameplay in the original, a game that I love
entirely. I mean, that's
the
true.
The gameplay that I love of the original is a chore. Admittedly, it's a chore. It was the atmosphere, the vibe, and the story that always kept it in my top 5. The gameplay was never a factor in that. I mean, aside from like exploration is always fun, but like it was never fun to.
The gaming Brit was saying on like he did this YouTube video about how he doesn't want to care about the fucking remakes or whatever. You know, honestly, most of his takes were a little fucking jaded, and he was just kind of angry, right? But one of the things he said that was kind of true was that this remake is impressive, I guess, right? But like, because it's like built on like modern standards of what we're looking for in like combat, right? And that's fine, right? And it makes it a more fun experience than it was in 2002 playing the original, sure. But like, it's also like just based on like what is okay, like in terms of like 2024, and in like 20 years when like this gameplay is also shit, maybe, you know, probably, then
but like, I mean, it'll still be here's the thing,
at
but
some
like
point you gotta realize that the original art is the fucking maybe. I mean, if you're breaking it down to like, if are we looking for like the fun game or like valuing this as art?
I think we're getting a little like
yeah.
We can go
certainly.
This is a dangerous rabbit hole to go down.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not as jaded about remakes as like some of these other people that are kind of like been talking about lately. But like when you are kind of viewing games as art, like it does make a remake. You know, it's like look at the CGI and like the fucking George Lucas 2000s versions of Star Wars, right? At the time, he thought it looked great, but now it's like, well, this looks way worse than the original movies because holy shit, this doesn't hold up at all.
I mean, I think this is a great looking game, but I do think you're right. We'll have to wait and see how time treats it. But like, whatever. Now we're talking about like the Uncanny Valley and how shit's gonna look. Yeah, go ahead, Chris Davis. Sorry.
Yeah, a few things I want to mention because I've also finished the game, and this was my first Silent Hill experience. So,
oh wow,
yeah, I'd never played a Silent Hill game before. Always been adjacent to it, never jumped in it. So the first thing I want to mention, to Brad's point about the combat and the action, I do share that like the first 4 to 5 hours of the game are a really good horror kind of action experience. You have very little ammo. You have very little in the way of health items, and you have to learn how to do that melee combat system, which I quite like that combat system. But once you get past the hospital, in my personal opinion, the entire momentum of combat shifts because they start giving you metric fuck tons of health and ammo. So
I crank up the difficulty then.
They also start throwing a lot more enemies at you. But I will say this:
were you with your ammo and stuff? Because I'm approaching it very much like they give me bullets, I'm gonna fucking use them, and I'm not like carefully trying to take out enemies to conserve ammo that often. I have to get pretty low before I start doing that. I'm playing it like I played like The Last of Us, right? Just kind of scrappy. I used a little too many rounds. I'm not gonna like reload here. I'm just gonna be out of ammo for a while.
I used guns contextually based on the enemy. Like if it was like a singular like mannequin like that, like I'd probably engage more with melee combat. But like to give you perspective, at one point towards the end of the game, I had 150 bullets for my handgun.
Did that make combat less tense for you?
It was the tense went out the window for me.
See, I'll tell you this. There was one point where I had not 150, but I had like 80 something bullets. I think was maybe the highest I ever had at any given moment. And I was for a while. There was a short while where I was like, I'm starting to feel a little invincible here. And then they took me to an area. I don't remember what it was. But when I made it out of the area, I had like nothing, and I'm talking like no health, no ammo. Actually, another place where this happened,
drops, right? Where like if you're low on health, it's gonna start giving you health in some of those drawers that have been empty when you have.
I was getting very nervous. I was getting very nervous in the hotel. I was running low.
When I got to the prison, I had like 12 stim packs and like 20 health drinks. Like that's just for me being diligent and checking every room, but that feels like way too much.
But let me tell you, just like the original, there are a lot of difficulty options to adjust.
Why didn't you crank it up?
I mean,
adjusting it would have been a very Chris Davis thing to do, and also, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you normally would have like. I don't think
he fucks with
but you didn't really have any Silent Hill like point of reference, so that probably explains it. But this is pretty. With the exception of the fact that they don't throw as many enemies at you in the original, this is a pretty typical Silent Hill experience in terms of how much ammunition and health they're giving you.
Yeah, my entire
higher difficulties will drop that.
My entire thought process for the game and how much ammo and health it was giving me was that you're going to use it. It's going to build up towards something. You're eventually going to get to a scenario where you have to start using all of this. And for the most part, that was
the game is
an
not
incorrect
let
assumption.
You fuck yourself.
I mean, again,
sure.
I get it.
Back in the day, old survival horror games, you had to like be smart because you knew that the game was not gonna like make sure you had enough ammo to kill the fucking asshole on the plane in Code Veronica, right?
Yeah,
But like in 2024, games aren't designed that way, man. That's why I just use what I have because I know they're just gonna give me more even when I'm out. Right.
Not to mention, some games can even like adjust that dynamically depending on how you're playing. They
do.
They
do in this. Maybe not as elegantly as like modern Resident Evil, but they're definitely doing that. And
well, I never died, and I never felt threatened after I left off.
You never died? So. I died like 3 times.
See, so what was keeping you from turning up the difficulty?
I mean, it wasn't a thought because again, I was expecting because I didn't have a point of reference for this series or franchise, like. I expected that I would eventually be using all this stuff.
That's crazy. You
thought apart from the final boss fight, yes, I used quite a bit. I never. I mean, I felt inundated with enough ammo and health.
Chris Davis is a better gamer.
I don't know about that, but
gamer. The better gamer realizes what's going on and they turn up the difficulty or turn it down or whatever.
Oh shit!
Just
sorry, Chris Davis. What else you got?
The other thing I really wanted to mention was that I was really kind of surprised how reserved Bloober has been with character dialogue in this game. Like, again, I never played the original Silent Hill. I never played a Silent Hill game before. But, like, my immediate point of reference for this game and, like, what I expected from the experience was the Resident Evil 2 remake, right? And in that game, the characters are chatty. Like they are observing everything in the environment and they have something to fucking say. You don't get that in this game at all. And I really kind of expected it. And I was really surprised by how much restraint
Pleasantly
Bloober went
surprised.
there. Yeah.
Well, it's very like surreal, right? Like just how much they're not reacting to the things that are happening is like intentional. It's like fucking Lynchian at times, right? But like I think Bloober team knew that when they got the green light to remake this, there was one thing that they should not fuck with, and that's anything in regards to like story, characters, and there's it's not like it's one for one the same all the way through, and it's not like they aren't doing like good things with like motion capture and performances and stuff. That stuff is good, but they weren't gonna fuck with those pieces too much, and maybe it led to them. They led to them doing something like really successful, right? Because that first one is that original is
that's what it's known for.
Yeah, like goated for that.
I do really like.
It's crazy to like go from a world where like their horror games were Resident Evil, like tonally and like vibes and stuff, to like something this. It felt so much more mature. It was crazy,
right?
So the fact that they just like very delicately built on that was. Honestly,
and I will say this,
like the most impressive thing here.
I'm really happy with how all the performances in this game turned out.
I really sympathize with pretty much every single character in this game.
I think even if you were to pick like the weakest quote unquote recreation of a character and their performance, even then that character is I would say an improvement, or
which character
at the very least.
Or
I mean, I've seen some people express some distaste in like the way Eddie is presented.
Well,
but
he
like
wasn't a very tasteful character.
No. But I mean, I don't think it has to do with but like just the way, like he does look different. He does sound a little different than he did in the original. But I think the performance at hand is still really, really good. So, and like Angela, I think is so well done in this game. Like it's just it's not a huge cast, but like and all like the big moments, like all the big story moments landed. And I was worried that like, especially when you get towards the end, like those important moments start hitting, I was like somewhere along the line here, they're gonna fuck something up, and it just never happened. So that was just really, I'm just kind of astounded the game exists. And it's good. So
the only thing I took issue with, the only thing I will say I took issue with was a very small part of the puzzle design and how they handle the narrative triggers for how you manage the endings. There is a puzzle in the hospital.
Those are always obtuse.
Yeah,
dude. That's just something that's been like a mainstay of the series since day one, and it's the way like literally just the weirdest, most random shit will have an impact on which ending you're gonna get. I got the good ending.
Fascinating though. I've heard this rant in like Discord or whatever, and you wanted more signposting or whatnot. And I get it. Like if you play games to like get different endings or get certain endings, but like the way they handle that stuff, it really was a vibe, man. And like people who are like obsessed with Silent Hill and maybe replay them over and over again, like kind of like dig into like the wiki or wikis or whatever to like figure out how to trigger the different endings. But like they were big swings. Maybe it wasn't executed all that well, but like just the idea of like, oh man, he looked at this knife in his inventory a little too much.
Dude, so I think one of the craziest ones,
at the end of the game, like
I think one of the craziest,
a big swing.
I think one of the craziest examples of this is in Silent Hill 2 is like when you are traveling with Maria, when she's like shadowing you and following you and stuff, depending on how well you stay close to how close you stay to her and how well you protect her from taking damage from enemies will have an impact on your ending. And I'm talking like will have kind of the entire not tone, but like impact or effect she has on you as a character in the end of the game is kind of affected by
there's new endings, right? There's new endings.
Yeah,
they've added 2 new endings.
I feel like I've noticed like when I was like in the strip club or whatever, there's like a bottle of booze I can look at, and there's like some, sexy pictures on the wall, and I'm like, I wonder if I like stare at this shit a long time, I'm gonna like have some like fucked up new ending or whatever.
Some weird porno ending. Yeah.
It's
Wait, what, Krispy?
I said there's a pervy ending.
Well, I mean, Silent Hill 2 is all about like fucking weird,
temptation,
fucking
and all that.
pervy sexual violence. It's all a metaphor.
Yeah, but like,
I mean, you're just fighting fucking phallic monsters and pairs of legs, and it's just
but there's also things that like that are basic gameplay design elements that factor into this. Like when you're playing a survival horror game, and I talked about this in Discord earlier, so we don't have to go much into it, but when you're playing a survival horror game, like the whole idea is that you don't want to get hurt. And so when you're playing these, you want to heal up constantly. You want to make certain you're 100% so you're ready to go for any encounter. Well, that's a fucking gameplay element that triggers endings in this game. Like if you have
got a coward ending for being a coward.
Well, no, like you just have to like make it to where you are not healing yourself and you're at a constant state of pain in order to trigger an ending.
It's weird and obtuse.
That's
Trigger an
fucking
ending,
weird.
but
for a game that gives you like
things-
50 health items by the end of the game, yeah, it's weird.
But just remember, those things, those kind of like weirder things that you have to do, those are not like the quote unquote canon ending or the ending. Those are usually the endings that you strive to go for in your second or third playthrough. And there are some endings you can't even unlock until you've done an entire playthrough. So like, the main kind of like thematically appropriate story ending is the one that you are most likely to get on your first playthrough.
Look, man, it's art. It's cinema.
But like,
the Mulholland Drive DVD didn't have a scene select because David Lynch knew people were gonna want to jump around to figure that fucking web out. They were like, "Fuck you! We're not even gonna let you do more than 2 times fast forward on this DVD." He's a madman.
That's clever.
Yeah, that is.
It's just like, it's just. That's one of the little idiosyncrasies about Silent Hill as a series that is just kind of like you either love it or you hate it, but like that's one of the things that makes it Silent Hill.
Yeah.
There's a UFO ending.
Yes, there is. And there's the dog ending.
And the dog ending.
Yeah. But like after playing this game for 20 hours and just how fucking depressing this game is designed to be, narratively speaking.
It is depressing.
It's as much as I appreciate the quality of work put into this game, I think it's solidified that I'm not a Silent Hill fan and that I'm probably not.
I thought you weren't even going to play it. Like I thought you had already formed that opinion, and that's why you weren't playing it. But I'm actually really impressed and glad that you played it. Even if that's the conclusion you ultimately came to, I'm glad you played it. Like that's cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that I played it. I think this was good for me. It's just I can only take so much depression in my midlife crisis right now. So
without getting into detail, which ending did you get?
Wait, how do you? Wait, I don't trust. I don't trust that question or the answer he's going to give.
What ending he got?
I mean, I know. Like I said, there is one ending that you are most likely, unless you do some weird shit, you are the most likely to get in your first playthrough, and I think it's probably the one that he got. But I don't want to go into the detail.
Water? Like so, well, they kind of had names.
No.
Yeah, they all have names. I got Leave. If that means anything.
Yeah, Leave is the most common one. That's the one I got too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it just strikes me. Again, I don't want to go into it, but it just strikes me that you have to work harder to get a worse ending for your character.
Yeah, but that's the fun of the second and third playthroughs, man. You're trying to get
y'all have fun with that
weird shit.
Silent Hill fans do try to like. You're a lore boy, You're like these things are all connected, and that's fair. But like in Silent Hill, girlies like Nick, I'm sure they try to like figure it all out and like connect all the games to each other. But like these are vibes games, man. You got to just like your ending is your ending, man.
Let me say on that note,
but like you're not even supposed to know about those fucking mechanics that gave you the ending that you got.
Right.
Independent research on the fucking internet. Taught you that.
I don't try to connect all the games, Brad, you little bitch. But I will say this: there are some really neat because you obviously have like now that when the original came out, there was obviously only 2 games. Now that this remake is out and there's like 8 games that preceded it, or more technically, there are a lot more Easter eggs that kind of like hint at or like give you like little nods to those other games, and those are really cool moments. Like if you have played the entire series, that make you go, oh shit, I know what that's talking about. But like none of them are like direct, like they don't ever like factor into the actual game in any significant way. But I thought it was nice.
The
Anyways,
endings don't
we need
even
to move
matter
on.
in Silent Hill 2. The ending is that letter, right? Like it's
That will always be the same. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap up. Sorry, that conversation went a little long. Let's go ahead and wrap up with the 4-player minute.
You got shit to say.
Yeah, no, I know it's great. But since the last 3 times I've tried to get Brad to go first, he's always
No, I'm ready. Let's do it.
What the fuck? This motherfucker. Give us your final thoughts.
My 4-player minute starts now. My 4-player minute is about I'm off like first week of November for like it's for reasons like staycation reasons. I got to be at home, like mostly childcare reasons, right? And it's crazy because this year I think it's been a really great year for video games, and I have started so many games that like I truly think are like just fucking awesome. Like a lot of years maybe I'm like playing games, I'm like, oh, this one's cool, and this one, fuck this game, this one sucks, and I'll like put it down and I'll move on to something else. But like I feel like everything I've like picked up this year I've just kind of been vibing with, and I've really enjoyed it. And a lot of that, some of that stuff I finished, and a lot of that stuff I haven't. And I'm always kind of like, I'm gonna go back to this. I'm like putting a little bookmark in this one, and I'm gonna circle back around to it. And I'm getting so we talked about it earlier, I think, or before the show. October 31st, Dragon Age comes out. I'm like, oh, well, shit. I'm a Dragon Age guy. I guess I'll be playing Dragon Age in that week that I'm off with my little staycation. And I'm like, oh shit. Well, I do kind of need to catch up on games, right? But I also like, I'm going to play the new Dragon Age. And then they announced this Castlevania, or even before that. Well, it's Castlevania DLC for Vampire Survivors, which is notoriously a game that you can just dump hours melt away. Time doesn't exist when you're playing Vampire Survivors, and it's Castlevania themed. Okay. Well, am I even gonna play Dragon Age now? It's crazy. like it's like I have already been fighting the urge because Halls of Torment is a Vampire Survivors, like I think probably maybe at least the one that's grabbed me the most since Vampire Survivors, and I really liked it. I played a lot during early access, but it's another game that you could just lose time to. It hit 1.0, and I've been like really fighting the urge to touch that. I don't even want to touch it. I deleted it off my Steam Deck. I'm like, no, you need to finish like Tactical Breach Wizards and all these other games. SteamWorld Ice 2. Like I have so many games. I still have not finished Dragon's Dogma 2.
What the fuck?
Yeah, because it's like bookmark, or I folded the corner of the page, and I'm like, I'm going to come back to this. I got to keep up with my game flag. Got to keep up with my stupid podcast or whatever, right? Then UFO 50 comes out, right? UFO 50 still, I want to spend so much more time with it. And I'm like, well, shit, and then this Monster Hunter beta also next week, it all timed for like when I'm off a week of work. Like it's like faded, right? All this stuff's happening, and now I'm like, well, what? Why even? I might as well just play Halls of Torment. My year's done, right? Like all this stuff is like crack to me, is what I'm trying to say. So like, why? I should just give in to these urges, right? Why even care about finishing fucking Rise of the Ronin or whatever? Who gives a shit? I have games that play themselves. And they're Castlevania themed now. I don't need real video games. I think I'm just gonna let it go.
Oh my god.
Is that bad? Let it go?
I hate you.
I don't need, I don't know. That's what I've been thinking about. And now I feel like I'm just gonna like it's weird. It's a weird concept to be like productive with video games. Like I want to do something productive with my game time versus like not productive, like playing a bunch of Slay the Spire again. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna go full sicko mode on Halls of Torment up until the release of Vampire Survivors.
You can't let me be like the only person playing Dragon Age.
I will play Dragon Age. Trust me.
Krispy will be playing
it. It's weird that you're even like so hyped about it? You didn't
Dude,
finish
I
Inquisition.
played the shit out of Dragon Age 1 and 2. It's just Inquisition.
Like, this game is like a direct follow up to Inquisition, though.
I know.
It's
I'm gonna watch a YouTube video, and I'm just gonna call it a day.
Is it gonna be on Steam?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Is anyone buying it on Steam?
I think I am.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, then I'll be playing it because I
we
can't
can't
afford
play
to
it.
buy it myself.
But we can't play it at the same time. But yeah, I think I am gonna buy it on
Well,
Steam.
I mean, you are sleeping when he probably wants to play Dragon.
That is true. We have
I don't think
opposite.
I'll
We have
need to worry
opposite
about
sleep
it.
schedules.
Also, he can start up the game and then just pull the cord on his internet or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, really?
To do that more elegantly,
Yeah.
and he could just play. It's
If you're offline, it can't tell you that Nick got online to play. So
Oh, that's sick.
That's a good. That's a good point. Anyways,
that's all.
All right. Why don't I pass the baton over to Nolan?
Sure. So yeah, my 4-player time of the month starts now. Man, it's been a crazy week. Like I said, I've not really been playing as many video games as I'd like. And every time we do the show, I get more hyped to play games that I probably should be playing. And unfortunately, kind of not too dissimilar to what Brad was saying, all of the hype I currently have is for stuff that's not new. All the Death Stranding talk made me, reminisce about the fun times I had with Death Stranding. Obviously 2 is on the horizon. Kind of want to maybe revisit 1 because it's been a long time and I never played the director's cut. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Trailer talk saw all of the Balatro, stuff.
Crossovers.
That's definitely, all the crossovers. That's exciting. Wants to make me revisit Balatro because honestly, even though I've played a shit ton of Balatro, I've not really done anything like amazing in that. I've not gotten that far. I've only unlocked so many.
Up there, right?
Yes and no. Like I promise you.
Oh,
like,
you're talking about the different like stakes and
yes, correct.
Stakes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the stakes I did not get very high on them, and I've only locked so many of the decks. So yeah, it's one of those things where even though I played a bunch of it, it's RNG. Sometimes it's not on your side. So those two, Vampire Hunters. Survivors. Yeah, I was like, that's not right. Yes, Vampire Survivors. Holy shit, seeing all of the Castlevania characters, and I want to revisit Vampire Survivors. I played a whole lot of that, and now I want to play a whole lot more. And so, unfortunately, all of the things I've been seeing the past, day or two has gotten me kind of excited to play games that I probably shouldn't be playing because there's better games for me to play. But
I don't think there's any right or wrong answer we should be playing. We just
No, I get it.
Look at the conversation we had about Death Stranding tonight, just because Krispy finally got around to playing it. Like that.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
True.
But yeah,
why is Blizzard not just turned Diablo 4 into a auto like a Vampire Survivors yet? Why have they not done that? Remember when Epic was like, let's just make this into a battle royale game because that's what people like. Blizzard needs to make Diablo 4 like there needs to be a mode in Diablo 4 where it's like Vampire Survivors, and they're so stupid that they have not done that yet.
Pretty certain they tried, and I bet you Blizzard canceled it.
Somebody pay Brad the big bucks.
I mean, why not? Halls of Torment is just Diablo 1 looking ass fucking Vampire Survivors. Just do it. Sorry, it's pretty. Diablo 4 is pretty, and the skills look awesome. But I don't want to play Diablo 4. I want to play Vampire Survivors. Sorry, I thought you were done, Nolan. Go ahead.
I mean, I for all intents and purposes, yes, I am done. That is basically my time in the spotlight for now. But yeah, that's what I got.
Play what your heart desires, Nolan. We'll be happy to talk about it. And
you know what? That's what I have been doing, and that's what I'm continue to do. Whatever makes me passionate about games is what I'm going to play.
There you go. That's the right answer. Krispy.
Mode in Hades too.
Shut up, Brad.
Can every game that's isometric just do one of these modes, please?
Apparently, the new update for Diablo 4 is pretty cool.
Whatever. It ain't Vampire Survivors.
All right, Krispy.
All right. So, like I said, I finished Death Stranding this morning. Looking for something to play next, and I'm stuck between two titles, and I'm not really sure which one I should devote my time to.
What you got?
Is one of the Metal Gear Solid 5?
One of them is Metal Gear Solid 5. And I do really want to play Metal Gear Solid 5 again. I didn't ever actually finish it the first time. I played a lot of it and then just kind of moved on, but
got to the first ending.
It's a pretty good game.
Yeah, now I really want to do it right, as it were.
Cool.
The other game I'm thinking about playing is Signalis.
Whoa, yeah.
Oh,
It's a good one to play. It's October.
That's a good one.
I'm gonna ask you guys if you had played it and if you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Signalis was in my top 10.
It was
the
for
year
Nick,
it came
yeah.
out. It's also it's
Short.
it's shorter. It's thematically appropriate given the season, and then you'll be ready to play Metal Gear Solid very quickly. I mean, it's probably like a 10-hour game.
I was told in
Okay.
Discord that game is just as depressing as a Silent Hill experience, and that kind of made me go, okay, maybe not.
It is. It is definitely
Fuck.
heavily inspired by Silent Hill and Resident Evil, but it tells a very kind of personal, touching,
Not like
but
robots or
depressing
something,
story.
right?
Yeah,
Android.
no, not exactly, but you'll see. It's worth it though. I think you would like it, especially coming off of the like hyper existential kind of tone of like Death Stranding. It's also kind of like Soma-esque, if you remember that, in terms of like how it makes you ponder existence and that kind of thing.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It makes you think, and like I said, you can get through it and then get right back to Metal Gear Solid 5.
I don't know why. I feel like I've just seen a lot of like Signalis has been popping up a lot for me, like on Twitter, like from like artists I follow posting art and stuff about it. I didn't really understand why now at first, but I guess the fact that it's October makes sense. I didn't really consider that.
I think it's kind of becoming a modern. It's like a modern retro horror classic.
People are really into it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like it's a survival horror, right? Like it's like
It
a Resident Evil, right?
heavily Resident Evil coded,
But it's
from the
very,
gameplay
like,
perspective.
you know,
But the story is very Silent Hill-esque.
I don't know. If you're into that. I mean,
Okay.
it's got story and characters. It's good.
It's really well designed. It's fun to play.
10 hours, huh?
Yeah, it's a pretty quick thing. Like if you were to play Metal Gear Solid 5 first, it could be like a month before you get around to Signalis. You could probably start Signalis and like 2 days later be playing Metal Gear Solid 5. You know what I mean?
I do.
So
Okay.
Good call out.
Okay. We'll see.
cool. That's a deep cut. I wasn't expecting that. Anything else?
You know, honestly, it's the fucking this new Steam family setup is
it working out?
yeah, it's kind of sick. Like I can't really like spend money on anything right now. So it's been nice to be able to just like
No
go through
need.
and install and play games. Yeah. Of like all the shit you guys bought. Like I started playing SteamWorld Heist 2 the other day. I started I'm Your
Beautiful.
Beast I downloaded.
That so
Played
I
a little bit of
I'm gonna wait till next week, but I've been playing that, and
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
I was so happy to see.
I downloaded
Pace-
it. I haven't actually started
Pace
it.
did a top 100 games of the decade so far, which I guess is like the first half of the decade. Not only was UFO 50 in the top 10, as it should be, I was happy. I was so pleased to see El Paso Elsewhere in the top 20. It's like, damn,
Nice.
man. I didn't think
That's
too many
intense.
people
Yeah,
even played
that's on
that
here
shit. To see it so
too.
high, oh, I love that game. Yeah, dude.
Ugh.
Time to get
Cool.
a Steam Deck.
Well, Steam Deck's not really gonna.
I see all y'all's games pop up on my Steam Deck now, and I'm like, ooh, including all that. Oh, by the way, Carlos's game of the year so far is Mouthwashing, and I think you might vibe with that.
I know.
Krispy.
Mouthwashing.
Yeah.
Mouthwashing.
Yeah, I see that on the library, but I didn't know what it was. It looks weird.
It's a Carlos.
Oh yeah, it looks-
Jimmy.
oh,
But yeah.
man, overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
That
Well,
could be
World
you.
Teller in chat says Signalis and Mouthwashing get lots of fan art. I was surprised to see lots of fan art of Mouthwashing myself. People are head over heels for this thing. I feel
Sweet.
like.
All right, Chris Davis, you're up.
Hey, so I mean, I finished Silent Hill 2. We've got Life is Strange next week. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh fuck.
Oh, there's that thing.
In the interim right now, the only thing I've really been playing is Tactical Breach Wizards.
Oh, finally.
Dude, that game's so
Isn't
sick.
it cool?
Yeah, it is. I kind of love this writing. This guy,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
it's
I knew you would. But I told you not to get Peglin instead. Jesus.
Hey, look, Peglin looked cool, man. I really like.
No,
1
it
million.
is. It just didn't seem very Chris Davis. Whatever.
Yeah. But like, I mean, just I didn't expect the writing to be that as good as it is for this. Like,
On point.
I don't remember the guy's name, but like he did incredible job on Gunpoint. But then he went and did Heat Signature, which had basically nothing in terms of narrative for me. I mean, maybe I'm misremembering, but I don't remember like ever seeing any.
Yeah, it was like a
story
semi. I mean, it was not really like. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
Not Chris Davis coded.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it is, but it's just not. He didn't vibe with it. Whatever.
It was a good idea from a simulation perspective, but like that wasn't this guy's strength. His strength is his writing, and he brought it back the same quality he put into Gunpoint and put it into this, and it's so much fun. Oh, I love these characters. I love this encounter system.
Charming. This whole game is very charming.
Yeah, I'm messing around with the challenges.
Ed played through it as well. I think. Curious to hear his take wherever the fuck Ed is.
Yeah, who knows? Ed is out in the ether. We'll find him eventually.
We'll catch up with him eventually.
Yeah, but that's the extent of my gaming. Like, Rat, it's gonna be this. I'm gonna finish that this weekend because I'm on Act 4. I'll do Life is Strange next week, and then I'll wait until the next game after that will be Stalker 2. So,
fuck. You were spending so much time on the Silent Hill combat. I meant to ask you, did it reach the heights of Alone in the Dark's combat? And I missed that opportunity.
Listen, bitch. Okay,
Don't know.
You've been making
Why'd
that
you have
joke
to do
for
that,
a year.
Brad?
A year you've been making that joke.
No, but like I bring it up because now that you're in the Steam family,
You can find out for yourself.
I can play Alone in the Dark. I might actually play it before Halloween.
You know,
See how
on
good this
that
combat
note,
is.
on that note,
Resident Evil 2 remakes.
allow me to start my 4-player minute now.
Go ahead.
Which is to say that I still very much intend to do a like Halloween stream, and I think tomorrow it's going to be my first opportunity to like really sit down and kind of like curate how I'm going to use that time and when I'm going to end up doing it. I don't know. I'll let everybody know when it's going to happen, but basically I'm going to try and do like a noon to whenever the fuck, just playing chunks of games, either like horror games that came out this year that I've been curious about, including Alone in the Dark. I want to try Alone in the Dark. I want to try Outlast Trials. There's just a bunch of stuff I want to dabble in and see which one sticks. So if you're a community member who is interested in trying Outlast Trials, since that's a multiplayer game, I'm going to be doing. I know for a fact that's one of the things I'm going to be playing. And on another note, I just wanted to say, because I didn't really have a chance to mention it, but I didn't want to talk about it this week because I don't have much new to say. But I did pick up Metaphor ReFantazio yesterday. I had already played. I played through the demo, which was the demo, quote unquote, is basically the first 8 to 9 hours of the game. And I am now officially like 11 hours in. I'm like in the actual game itself.
And you're loving every minute of it?
Dude, I'm loving Metaphor ReFantazio. I'm not even kidding.
My stupid challenge has created a monster. Look at this guy.
Dude,
Playing games called ReFantazio.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. This game it's speaking to me. I'm really, really, really enjoying it. But I'm not going to talk about it again until I have played a significant chunk of it. But yeah, that game is fucking sick. And then one last thing I want to mention quickly, because we didn't mention it at all tonight on the actual show, but we talked about it before the show during trailer talk. But Bloober announced their next game called Chronos: The New Dawn, and it's coming out next year. It looks really cool, looks really weird, but more importantly, it is going to be our first chance to really see, because obviously I think they kind of knocked the Silent Hill 2 remake out of the park, but like I said earlier, they had a lot of foundational stuff there for them, right? It had the bones of Silent Hill 2, it had like the strengths of Silent Hill 2, and a lot of the stuff they changed was fantastic, but like, how does that translate? Is that going to hold true, making a completely original title? I don't know, but the trailer certainly intrigued me, and I'm fascinated to find out if it's gonna hold steady. We don't have a lot to go on at this point, but color me intrigued. I'm very excited to see what they do next, because Silent Hill 2 Remake was chef's kiss for me. And that's it. That's our show tonight, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. 4playernetwork.com is our website. You can find all of our episodes there. But more importantly, you can find us on Discord at discord.gg/4player. Just a great all-around place to kind of hang out and talk about video games, movies, TV, whatever. We'd love to have you. It's free. Again, that's discord.gg/4player. But we'll get back to it next week. I'm not sure what we'll be talking about, but I'm sure it'll be more video games. But in the meantime, y'all be good to each other, play video games, and good night.
Bluebirds.